it, but I think you guys all know, right? Unfortunately, Mr. Mignana cannot make the panel. He is signing autographs. I know. But that's cool. We're all here, and this is the voice actor panel. We are just gonna do it really free and easy going style, right? I guess we'll introduce ourselves really briefly, but there's a mic up there, and then we'll just get in a line and ask their question. And this panel was originally supposed to be 2 hours long. That's a really long time. So I think we'll get a sense if when the questions start dying down, we'll just call it a night. And you guys can all go out and party or whatever you guys do.
Or if we need a bathroom break, we could just do that.
So
you want to introduce? Well, yeah, we'll introduce ourselves, and then we'll go from there. So I will let you go first, as ladies always do. You go first.
All right. My name is Sheh. I am based out of Los Angeles. Some of the voices I've done are Hinata in Naruto, Orihime in Bleach, Auraka in Auraka 7. Currently still recording Naruto Bleach. I'm doing 3 new shows, but I can't really say what they are, I think, because of NDAs. I'm not, actually, it's more like I'm not sure if I can say, and I better not say because,
She'll be shocked.
yes, it's true. And contrary to popular belief, anime voice actors don't actually make that much money, so if we get sued for breaching an NDA, it would really suck. But I am reprising my part in Fate Stay Zero for those of you guys. I've also done some ADR writing, some producing, and some voice directing, if you guys like Resident Evil. And I'm currently a Care Bear on the hub. And I'm as well as Mrs. Rabbit on Peter Rabbit on Nickelodeon, if you are into that.
Thank you. My name is Dick Mignana. But today I'm currently playing the role of Steve Bloom. My name is John Swasey. Thank you. Thank you.
Any relation to Patrick?
If you would like.
He taught Patrick how to dance, you know.
I will tell you something just trivial and useless. My last name is Swasey. I am an actor. Patrick Swasey was an actor. He is from Houston. I am from Houston. And our mothers are both named Patsy. However, I am alive and he is not. So, Trump. Kidding. Anyway, so yeah, I'm a voice actor from Houston, Texas, and I've been doing the wonderful world of anime for about 17 years. Thank you. I've had the privilege of working with some great people, and one of the things that I love most about my experience is getting to come to conventions and meeting you, number one, but also getting to meet fabulous actors like Sheh. So to me, it's a real honor and a privilege. Some of the shows that I've done are, I've got a weird, I have people come up all the time and go, how does it feel that you replaced Scott McNeil in So and High? And I'm like, I don't know. Better than the way Scott feels, I'm sure. How does it feel that you replaced Tristan McCaffrey as Gendo? Better than he feels. And it's weird. I feel like this Darren Stevens in Bewitched. I'm the new guy, you know? But it's not my fault. I love those guys. They're all very talented. But I have had a great time, and I love what I do. One of my favorite roles of all time is Lord Death in Soul Eater. and Soldier B in something I did. My old other favorite role. So anyway, I guess we're just going to open up for questions and that kind of thing. You have a
There's a mic. Yeah, it's making noise when you tap on it, so I think it's working. And you guys go ahead and line up, yeah.
So, what are your like more tougher, physically challenging voice roles? Like, which ones you strain the most doing, and how do you kind of re-energize yourself after sessions of doing that voice?
Are you a physical actor?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. Stephanie just asked, am I a physical actor? I mean, when you're in the booth,
When you're on a microphone, you don't just stand there like this and do your line. Unless your character's that kind of guy. You really, I do, Stephanie might as well, you really want to get into it. The one thing you have to remember is your microphone's here, so you can't do this, but you can do this. But this has to stay right here. Because the engineer does all this stuff on the board to make it sound so it's just right. So yeah, I do a lot of physical, you know, if I'm a character and I'm doing stuff, I mean the character is doing a lot of stuff, I'll try to do that too, because it's, voice acting is acting. And I look at it like you have to be in the, oh thank you. You have to be in the, thank you. I think I'm still loud with it.
there it is. Whoa. So anyway, yeah, you have to do what they're doing. I mean, you know, they're, I'm sure you've run into this, but you know, when, so if you've directed, when people, okay, so you're falling off a cliff, so fall. Like, no, that's not what you do. You go, that's what you have to do. So, you know. Anyway, there you go. So I think the question was, what's the most physically demanding?
What was the most physically demanding role? I feel like maybe none of my characters do enough cardio or something. They're not that active. I mean, I think the most that I do is like, you know, I'll like raise an arm if they're raising an arm, put my hand on the hip or something like that, but not so much. I think that sometimes, I will say, okay, does anyone, I have this thing right here, it's an up band. Do you guys have like Nike fuel bands and stuff like that? Like, it's very popular for tracking steps and how many calories you burn.
I don't burn any calories.
For a while, a lot of the LA voice actors, they all got Nike fuel bands, and it'll tell them how many calories they burn at their heart rate. And when they're doing video game work, it's like a workout in the booth. So it is, maybe I don't register it, but definitely you get a workout.
Hello.
Sorry, talking about the up band, sorry.
What are some actors that you would really like to meet in the future? And as a second part, how do you compare your desire to meet breakout on-screen actors versus fans here that really wanted to come to Sakura-con to meet you guys?
I'm sorry, what?
I can translate anything. He's saying that, like, are there any actors that you would love to meet? Maybe even outside of voice actors, right?
Right.
And then when you think about yourself as a fan, you tell me when this is wrong. You think of yourself as a fan, how excited you would be approaching them, you know, who is like, do you ever consider when you meet fans
Right.
as a character?
I see. Wow.
That's correct.
Wow. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the smartest voice actress in the world. Yeah, actually, it's funny. Vic and I were talking about this last night over a cigar. Because that's the greatest thing you can do when you're a voice actor, is smoke a cigar. But he, because of all of his Star Trek work, has become friends with William Shatner. And I'm a huge William Shatner fan. And so Vic is going to be in Dallas in about a month or two for something. And Shatner's going to be there. And so he said, drive up from Houston, I'll introduce you. So I'm all giddy. And I want to walk up to him and go, he's going to go, how you doing? I'm William Shatner. I'm like, what have you done? No, I'm a huge fan, and it's an honor to meet other actors. You know, one of the great benefits, like I was saying earlier, for me, going to conventions, is I get to meet other actors. And now Stephanie's based out of LA, I'm based out of Texas. But even in Texas, you don't work with a lot of actors per se, because we go into the booth one person at a time. And so we don't necessarily get to see each other and visit and all that kind of stuff. So it's always a joy for me to get to meet people like Stephanie and Vic and Keith Silverstein and Steve Bloom and Richard Epcar and, so all kinds of people. It's a treat, a lot of fun. And so when I go up, I'm gonna freak out.
All my crazy idols, actor idols are all dead. Like all the classic movie, black and white movie stars and stuff like that. I don't know, I have to think about it. I mean, it's weird. I think I'm jaded now. I just don't, I feel like the pressure of saying something unique and smart and trying to be memorable to someone you really respect, is so great that I just don't even try. I'm just hey, what's up? And then all right, whatever. And then I kind of underplay it.
I was doing a commercial one. This is not an anime-based thing, but I was doing a commercial one time in Houston, and it was with the Houston Rockets. It was for an NBA spot, and I played a trainer on the team, and we were sitting in what's called the vomitorium underneath the stands, getting ready to run out. And it were these 3 basketball players. They were stars: Clyde Drexler, Hakeem Olajuwon, and I think it's Robert Horry. But they were big stars in Houston. And back in the day when Seattle was kicking our ass in the playoffs. But anyway, they're sitting there, and it was the weirdest thing, because the 4 of us are sitting there, and I'm like, how y'all do? Because they're this flippin' tall. And I kept thinking they were all chatting, and I kept thinking I wanted to be in the conversation. I was just thinking I should. Maybe some words will go,
Every day for me, John.
What's that?
Every single day for me.
Thank you.
Sure.
I'm short too, don't worry. You were a big Patrick Swasey fan, weren't you?
Me?
Yeah. Well, he's dead now, and everyone you idolize is dead, so.
I like Dirty Dancing. I remember my girlfriends, at that time, were crazy obsessed with that movie. And I was it's alright. I was a really kid, so it's kind of naughty, but they were so into it.
Because it was naughty.
Exactly.
So I was wondering how you guys really come up with voices, new voices, new characters. You get one, you sit down, you look at it, you read the lines, and you go, I want it to sound like this. Because?
I do so much. I started out doing anime, and I do so much of it that I feel like a lot of that work came from listening to the Japanese in terms of getting texture, pitch, and tone, and whatever. Now that I do more original stuff, I just have to look at the image, and then read the description, and I just kind of try things out. And then I have to remember and remind myself that certain things is a voice. Because I'm not one of those actors who are I want to be a voice actor, and I want to do voices and listen to all these voices more of a, I just wanted to be an actor, and I was like really short and Chinese, and so I had been voiceover. And so my approach is more from character-based, and then the sounds are just my tools. But I know that a lot of really great voice actors, other great voice actors, they come by creating a whole character pure, like they start from the sounds first. I don't start from the sounds first. I start from other things.
There's two things, and they kind of mirror what Stephanie just said. But number one, in doing anime, you know, we're dubbing into English what was done in Japanese or Korean or whatever it may be. And we have to be respectful of what the original actor created. So if the original actor, let's say, well, I'll give you a perfect example for Lord Death in Soul Eater. I went in and auditioned for Zach Bolton, who was the director, and I didn't know the show, but I thought Lord Death, well, it's got to be a badass, you know. And so I was like, down here, Lord Death. And he's like, no. Listen to the Japanese. So I listened to the Japanese actor, and it was very comical sounding. It was very high up here, you know. It's like, oh, so maybe we should do something like this, you know. And he was like, yeah, that's it. So, you know, if you think about it, like, pick a movie, any movie, that your favorite movie, and think about if it was dubbed into another language, the actor playing that role that's dubbing it is going to try to be as close to what the original was, you know, to keep the integrity of the actual movie intact. If you change it, then you're going to ruin the movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but when it does come to doing original stuff, and I've done some original stuff, and I'm working on a project right now with, actually Vic is going to be our villain. It's a CG movie that we've got the rights to. It's already been animated, we're just rewriting the script. And it ought to be out hopefully in about a year. Tentatively, it's called The Perfect Con. K-H-A-N. And it's a really, it ought to be a lot of fun. But anyway, when you do those kinds of things, you do have the luxury of coming up with different voices. Fortunately, I've got some psychosis going on, so I drive around the city just coming up with different voices, and, you know, makes my wife want to shoot me sometimes.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
A question for both Stephanie and John. This is for...
That's perfect, because we're both up here.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, for Stephanie, have you seen Hitalia Access Powers? Are you familiar with it?
I know of the show. I have not seen it. Were you going to ask these questions specifically?
I was wondering, what would you think, because you play a character in Tales of the Abyss who has almost the same name, how do you think you'd react if they made a video game called Tales of Hitalia?
That would be interesting. Would all the countries fight each other?
Maybe.
Would they have amnesia and forget who they are?
Good question.
Yeah. I mean, there's enough Tales of games, right? Just need more.
Okay, for John, this is for you to answer as Death. How do you think you would react if you had the chance to take a visit to both Oron High School and the Fairy Tale Guild?
I think I would freak out.
Which would you want to do the most? Which of those school places would you want to go to the most? Okay. And what would you do if you joined, if they gave you a chance to join the host club?
Freak out.
Okay.
I have a question for both of you. I'm an actress as well, and I can do a lot of different voices like most anime actors and actresses. And I was wondering how you guys first got started into doing Funimation and different kinds of anime. Because that's something I would like to go into.
Yeah. When I got started, I was doing, it was 1996, and I was in Houston doing I was in a band called the PC Cowboys. It was a politically correct country and western band. It was a comedy act, really. And we were doing a show, and this guy named Jason Lee was our opening act. And he's married to Amanda Windley. You know that? Oh, okay. Yeah, and so he was telling me, like, yeah, I do this stuff called anime. And I did a lot of voice work as an actor, just commercials and stuff like that. I was like, what's anime? And he's like, well, he starts telling me about it. So he gets me an audition with his wife at ADV, and I started to do stuff there, and they were growing. And then I started to work at Funimation. I think it was Monica Rial got me an audition with Mike McFarland up at Funimation, and I started doing stuff there. And it just has sort of grown and grown and grown. I mean, it's, you know, it's all about, to me, it's all about marketing yourself and making yourself available and everything. And if it's something you really like to do, then you need to do one of three things. Go to Vancouver, go to Los Angeles, or go to Texas. And Galveston specifically. It happens that I live in Houston, but I've got a relationship. But I tell you, you know, it's a brutal day. When I get hired, I don't get, you know, could you come in for a couple hours? It's like I get, you know, we need you for 4 hours on this show, 2 hours on this show, an hour on this, we've got a video we got to do, blah, blah, blah. So I'll leave like my house about 5 in the morning, drive up to Dallas, work from 10 in the morning till 6 or 7 at night, and then turn around and drive home. And it's a long day. But, you know, it's what you got to do. So if you're interested, that's what you just got to be where it is.
Okay. Do you have to have like a certain college degree to get into voice animation? Or I didn't think so, but
Yeah.
okay.
If you talk to most voice actors, you'd be surprised that they even had a college degree.
I see. Thank you very much.
Sure, thank you. Good luck to you.
This question is for both of you. I'm a novelist, and I wrote my question down so I wouldn't forget it. It would take the least amount of words to tell you. It's, hard being writing. Okay, so where would you suggest a novelist inspired by anime and manga who writes in the paranormal fantasy and romance genre should submit a screenplay adaptation of their own novels? Like, who's interested right now, basically?
Are you saying that you want to make something that you've written into an animated property?
Not animated specifically, but whether it's little screen or big screen, just inspired by anime. All of my works, I have 4 books out, and all of my works are highly inspired by, you know, anime and manga and stuff. And so I'm just wondering who in America would be interested in something, because you know.
So you're just reading your works, so just publishing your works as it is.
Well, I'm already published, but I'm small published, so I still retain the rights to if I want to do audio or screenplay or something like that. So I was thinking about turning it into a screenplay and.
Right, but okay, just to be clear, sorry.
Yeah.
A screenplay is a screenplay or a teleplay. A screenplay is for film, right?
Right.
So teleplay is for TV.
Okay.
Okay, but nobody actually consumes that in of itself in written form. Like, the audience is only after it's made into an actual show.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
I was wondering if anybody's interested, you know, like, is anybody looking right now? Is anybody going through Slush Files right now? Who, you know, what producer or director would be interested? You know, what company should I send it to?
Okay, do you have any,
Well, I mean, yeah, you know, first of all, everyone is always looking
Okay.
for something new.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I would suggest you contact, I don't know. I mean, like Funimation does a little bit of original content, not a whole lot. And most of the stuff they do is a co-produced project.
Yes.
So, I really don't know.
It's hard to be in America because there's just, you know, there's not enough of the.
Well, to be completely honest, if you were in Japan and you were fluent Japanese, I don't know that it would be any easier. The Japanese anime industry is not doing well at all. Most of the shows that you see that are produced based on what toys they can sell. because the anime itself doesn't really make them that much money. So I've had writers of very famous shows and creators who have done a lot of great work come to me and say that they can't get their ideas made into an anime, or even the production company will read their pitches and their stories and say, oh, that sounds like a really awesome idea, but we're not making your show because we don't think we can sell toys and so we can't make money off of your show. And a lot of these creators are now going into video games. Like they're working for other, or they're trying to make films or something. They're not going into animated properties. So I wanted to say that, yeah, it's hard to get your foot in the door anywhere, you know. If Funimation is looking for original content, I would potentially start there because you know that they're looking, and your material, it sounds like maybe would have something of interest to them since they release so many anime properties. The other thing that I would say is, like, it's really hard to get a meeting or a pitch meeting for any major network. I have an idea for a show, and I talk to a few people who work in the industry because I have friends at various outlets, and most people just want a sure thing. So unless you've done something that already has cachet, they might listen to you, but they're not really interested necessarily because they just don't know if it's gonna go. And if they're gonna support your property, you're asking them to spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars, potentially over $1 million to make something of yours that they don't know is gonna work or not. So I understand why they would want somebody who has it was a known commodity, If you're doing that route, you must be prepared to pitch. And there are books on it, and there are conventions where people do classes on how to pitch an idea. Yeah. Like a 5-minute pitch, an elevator pitch, and all sorts of things.
I actually teach some of those classes.
So you know all about that.
Yes.
The other two routes that I would say to look into is a place like Hulu or Netflix or Amazon, because they are starved for content, and they're running a lot of contests for people, for creators, for filmmakers, and I'm sure they would open animated slots too, where they're looking to make new stuff. House of Cards was a Netflix production. Yeah, Netflix produced all of that, so and they're new. So it's good to get companies who are newer because they're looking for stuff, and it's easier than going to like NBC. That's like established, or start a Kickstarter and Indiegogo.
When I, about a year ago, or no, golly, it was 4 years ago, I was at a convention in Rochester, New York called Sakura-con. And I was actually with Vic. And we were in Newark at the airport. And there's this guy. And I'm looking at him, dude, I know that guy. And it turns out it was this guy named David, who used to work at ADV, who now works at MTV in new acquisitions. And I ran into him. He had just gotten married. He was on his way to Bora Bora for his honeymoon. And we just, it's David, John Swasey. He's like, oh my God, how are you? And so we caught up and everything. He goes, well, give me a call. I'll be, on my honeymoon for a couple of weeks, but give me a call when I get back in LA, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, we've got this little show that we're doing, and it's called Zeke and Zerlon. And we animated it, we wrote it, we animated it, we voiced it. I mean, it's a fully produced then they're shorts. They're like 2 minutes long. And it's the premise is it's an alien named Zerlon who crash lands his spaceship in Texarkana, Texas in a trailer park. And he can't get it fixed, so he puts it up on blocks. And he lives next door to this guy named Zeke. And they just have conversations. It's like commentary stuff. Very short, kind of Beavis and Butthead, but in Texas. And not stoned, just drunk. Anyway, we sent it to him. He loved it, thought it was hilarious. He also said, I can't write you a check. The days of me, whipping a check out and going, yeah, we'll give you $50,000 for whatever, because that's all long gone. And part of the reason is because of the internet. So, like Stephanie was saying, there's actually a lot of opportunity to go pursue this stuff on yourself, with yourself. And I would also recommend maybe trying to find an agent.
Okay, yeah,
So-
I actually have a book on submission to agents right now. I've had a few requests, but yeah, I know what you mean. For my books, my print books, I get 10%. for my ebooks I make 30%. But yeah, this paychecks for authors are getting smaller and smaller as well. So thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you. Best of luck to you. Question?
Oh, yeah.
That's not a question.
No, that wasn't.
Now that's a question.
Yes. In the time that you've been working as a voice actor for anime or games or what have you, I assume that you've both been working for quite a while in the whole sphere. So, just what are some of the biggest changes you've seen in the industry, like in just the whole sphere of work you do since you started until now, and what are some things you'd like to see improved or things you'd maybe even like to see restored that aren't being done anymore? Sorry, that's probably a little vague.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I've been doing this about, like I said, about 16 years, and I've seen the industry grow. There was a period of time when anime was like skyrocketing, and then it hit a ceiling, and it went. It didn't fart, it just went down. And
It did fart.
it did fart, yeah. It was a gaseous, juicy, ugh. And ADV, you know, I mean, ADV is reformed and they're a new company now, but some companies didn't survive it. I mean, they went out of business. Bandai. What's that?
I was like, yeah, some is like a nice word, a lot.
Yeah, a lot of them did, yeah. So, but in my humble opinion, I think though that someone's phone is ringing.
Mine, but I can't get to it because I'm here.
Oh, okay. Terrific. So anyway, I think that though now, what's interesting to me is that I think the industry now is stronger than ever, but it's growing slowly. It's not doing a skyrocket thing. I mean, that's just never going to be good. It's going to burn out eventually. But if you look, I mean, it was 20,000 people here, you know, and there's 4 other conventions in the United States going on this weekend.
Yeah.
So, to me, what strengthens the entire industry is you all and conventions like this. That's what is the base. So, I think it's fantastic. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay, mine's a bit more of a technical question.
Okay, you know what? Can you just grab your phone? I'm sorry. It's delightful to listen to, but...
Where is it? Somebody hand her her phone.
It's in my pink bag.
Hold it up. Place in line.
You won't reach your place in line.
Watch, it's not even her phone.
It's probably Vic calling. I bet it's Vic calling. Are y'all still doing your piano?